This is the story of Alice in the Wonderland. It's a story full of adventure, imagination, and wonderment. Alice is 7 years old and she lives with her parents, an older sister, a brother, and a pet cat named Dina. She is loving, gentle, and polite to all. She is very curious and adventurous. One day, she and her sister were sitting in the garden outside their house. Her sister was reading a story from a book, and Alice wondered what that book was. The book did not have any pictures, and Alice thought, "This is so boring. How can a story not have any pictures or conversations in it?" Alice started feeling very bored and very sleepy. Her eyes almost closed when she suddenly saw a white bunny rabbit sprinting across her garden and going behind a tree. She has seen rabbits before, but this rabbit was very different. It wore a proper dress and was carrying a watch, and it was talking to itself. Oh dear, I am terribly late." Alice wondered, a talking and a walking rabbit? Alice got up quickly and started to follow the rabbit. The rabbit went into a bush and into a rabbit hole in a big tree. Alice wondered, "I did not see this hole before. Where did this come from?" The rabbit walked very fast. It again looked at its watch and said, "Oh dear, I'm so late to the party." The hole was like a long dark tunnel, and Alice kept falling, falling down into the tunnel. Down, down, down she went for a long time. Alice felt she was going to the center of the earth. After some time, she hit the floor of a strange room with hundreds of doors. "What is this strange place?" wondered Alice. "This seems to be a wonderland far, far away from my home. I should catch the rabbit. Only the rabbit can tell me how to get back to my home. But where is the rabbit?" Just then, Alice saw the rabbit going into a small door. Alice said, "Stop, rabbit, stop." Again, Alice wondered, "This feels like a dream. I am talking to a rabbit. How silly is that?" The rabbit did not seem to hear Alice. It went through a small door and Alice could not fit into it. Alice looked around and there were so many other doors and they were all locked. She saw a table with a golden key on it. She went closer and took the key and tried all the doors. Finally, she found an yellow door, but it was too small for her to fit. She looked through the keyhole and there was a most beautiful garden. She could hear some wonderful music as well coming through it. "If only I was two, I could fit through. If only I was two, I could fit through." Alice wondered, why am I singing a song? Suddenly, a small bottle appeared in front of her. It had the words, "Drink me," written on it. How strange, thought Alice. "Drink me? Let's see what happens." And she opened the cap and drank all of the water inside the bottle. The liquid tasted quite funny. It wasn't water. Suddenly, she started getting smaller and smaller. Alice became just as small as the bunny rabbit. "Oh dear," thought Alice. I kept the key on the table and it's so high now I can't reach it." Alice started crying. "Boo hoo, what should I do? Boo hoo, what should I do?" A cake suddenly appeared in front of her. "Ah, a cake," she thought. It had the words, "Eat me," written on it. "Eat me?" thought Alice. "This is getting stranger and stranger." She quickly ate up the cake. It was delicious and tasted just like her mom's. The cake seemed to have some magic in it, and she started growing taller and taller. Alice couldn't stop herself, and she became so tall that her head touched the roof. She suddenly saw the white rabbit again. It was talking to itself. Oh, what would the queen think? I should get back to the party. Alice shouted, "Stop, white rabbit, stop!" The rabbit turned around but could not see Alice's face because it was near the roof. The rabbit said to itself, I must be imagining. I surely heard some girl's voice, but I can't stop. I should run, otherwise, I will get late. The rabbit ran through the door, but in the hurry, it dropped its glove and the hand fan. Alice picked up the fan and the glove. Alice felt she was stuck in the room and she started crying. She cried, and cried, and the whole room started to get filled with her tears. She took the hand fan and started fanning herself as it was getting too hot inside the room, and she started becoming smaller and smaller again. She became so small that she was swimming in her own tears, and she quickly threw the hand fan away. The fan must be making me smaller. How strange, she thought. She then looked to see how to get away from the water, and suddenly she was going going, and she went through the keyhole into the beautiful garden she wanted to be in. There were so many other animals also stuck in the tears, and they all came through as well, and everyone was floating in the tears. A mouse, a dodo bird, a parrot, an owl, and a few other animals. Alice got up and looked around. Am I dreaming? Where did all these animals come from? Let me see if I remember everything. My name is Alice, and I am 7 years old. 1 plus 1 is 2, and 2 plus 5 is 7. Peppa Pig lives in London, and Delphine Donkey in Paris, where there is Eiffel Tower. The Statue of Liberty is in New York, and I like to eat with a spoon and a fork. White rabbits walk and brown rabbits bark. Oh dear, I seem to be mixing up everything. What's happening to me? I'm saying some silly things. Alice looked at her dress. It was all wet. All the other animals were also wet. The dodo bird spoke first. Everyone, we should have a caucus race to get ourselves dry. Alice looked at the dodo. Aren't dodos extinct just like dinosaurs? Where did this bird come from? And it's talking. And what is this caucus race? Asked Alice. It's a race where everyone can run in a circle. We keep running until everybody is dry. Everyone will be a winner, said the dodo. Yes, we like the caucus race, shouted all the animals. Alice wondered, that's not a race. A race needs a winner. We can't have everyone winning a race. But they all started running in circles, and they ran for 30 long minutes, and Alice joined them as well. Finally, they all felt they were dry enough. Alice said, I wish my cat Dina was here. It would have liked all of you, especially you, little mouse. All the animals looked at each other and exclaimed, a cat? It will eat us up. And they started running away. Alice ran after them. Stop, stop, you all. I was just joking. She ran for a while and gave up. See, she saw a beautiful garden full of mushrooms. There was a big mushroom, and on it sat a caterpillar, blowing soap bubbles. Who are you? Said the caterpillar, looking at Alice. I am Alice, but I am now a small Alice. Actually, I am a much bigger Alice, but not as big as I can touch the roof, said Alice. The caterpillar calmly said, you're just like a bubble then. If you're not what you are, then eat the mushroom. If you eat it from the left, you will become small, and if you eat it from the right, you become big. Alice thought for a second. Is it to my right or to your right? Asked Alice, but the caterpillar did not reply. Well, thought Alice, let me take a bit from each of the sides and see if I become smaller or bigger by eating it. Alice bit a piece of the mushroom from her right hand, and she started growing bigger and bigger until she was as tall as a 7-year-old. She threw the other piece and thanked Mr. Caterpillar. Thank you very much, she said. Alice walked further into the mushroom forest and saw a strange looking cat sitting on the branch of a tree. The cat had a big smile. It looked at Alice and started speaking. I think you're looking for a white rabbit? If so, you should go to the Loopy Hatter's party. That's where you will find the rabbit. Alice looked at the cat and asked, who are you? I am a Cheshire cat, said the cat, pointing to its finger to the direction of a house. And it started to vanish into the air. Soon the cat disappeared, and only its big smile was left in the air. This is the strangest wonderland in the whole world, thought Alice. Things are appearing and disappearing. Curiosa and curiosa, said Alice. Alice started walking in the direction of the finger and reached the Loopy Hatter's house. There was a tea party, and all the animals, including the white rabbit, were sitting around the table. Sit down, Alice, said the Loopy Hatter, wearing a big hat, pointing to an empty chair. Alice wondered, how did he know my name? The white rabbit looked at its watch. It's 6 o'clock, time for tea and riddles, it shouted. The Loopy Hatter said, I have a new riddle for everyone. Why does the oyster not give her pearl to anyone? Everyone was silent. The Loopy Hatter said, because it's selfish. Everyone except Alice laughed. The white rabbit then said, okay, everyone, why does the sister crab not share her toys with the baby crab? The mouse answered this time, I know, because it's shellfish as well. More laughter around the table. The Cheshire cat appeared again, this time on the table. It asked a question. What happens to the cat that eats 3 balls of wool? The white rabbit raised its hand and answered, I know this one. It gives birth to 3 little mittens. 3 little mittens, they lost their kittens, started all the animals. Alice stopped them. It's not 3 little mittens who lost their kittens, it's 3 little kittens who lost their mittens. Everyone ignored Alice and shouted, "More tea, more tea!" And the Cheshire Cat disappeared once more. Alice thought, "This is the silliest tea party. I need to get out of this place." She stepped out of the loopy hatter's house and she saw the Cheshire Cat walking. Alice followed the cat. She soon saw many soldiers marching left, right, left, left, right, left. Roses are red. They were chanting. They were all looking like they were from a pack of playing cards. They were carrying red paint cans and brushes in their hands, and they were all going towards a white rose garden. Alice followed them into the garden. The soldiers took out the paint with their brushes and started painting the white flowers. Alice was very curious. "Why are you painting the flowers red?" One of the soldiers said, "Of course, roses are red. The Queen of the Hearts likes roses, so we always paint them red." Alice said to them, "That's so foolish. If the Queen likes red roses, you should plant red roses, not paint the white roses red." But they didn't listen to Alice and continued painting the roses red. Meanwhile, the Queen of Hearts marched into the garden. She looked at everyone with an angry voice and said, "Everybody, form a line and stand next to each other." Everyone was scared, and the Queen said, "One of you has stolen one of my cakes. Tell me who it is." Everyone was silent. Alice was not scared to tell the truth. She raised her hand. "It's me. My name is Alice. I have eaten your cake, but I did not steal it. It just appeared in front of me." The Queen shouted, "Catch her. She's the one. She's telling lies. We have to put her in a naughty corner." All the soldiers, who were looking like a pack of cards, started surrounding Alice. Alice said to the Queen, "This is very silly. That's just a cake." And Alice felt someone was shaking her. See, Alice suddenly woke up from her dream. Her sister was standing beside her and woke her up. "Alice, you were dreaming. You were saying, 'It's all very silly. It's just a cake. It's all very silly. It's just a cake.'" Alice woke up and she started rubbing her eyes. "Oh, so it was all a dream. What a long, silly dream," she thought, "and very funny one too." She saw talking white rabbits, a extinct dodo, a talking caterpillar, blowing bubbles, a vanishing cat, a silly tea party with so many silly riddles, and an angry Queen of Hearts worried about her cake. Alice looked at her sister. "Sister, stop reading your book. I have a fascinating story to tell you." And